The Rebel Capitalist Show.
How do you think Bitcoin plays into the price? And I have my own opinion on this, but you hear all the time in the mainstream media them saying, "Oh, gold is dead because all the kids now and all the millennials or the Gen Z or whatever they are, they're never going to invest in gold. Their gold now is Bitcoin. So you're going to have all that capital flow that would have gone into gold in an environment of stagflate, tax, and lie, that instead of going into gold, now will go into Bitcoin." What's your opinion?
I think a lot of people, and it is growing, have sold a lot of their gold, a lot of their silver, a lot of their gold stocks, and they're trying to get rich quick because let's face it, George, this world, a lot of it's social media and people's attention span is what have you done for me lately?
Right.
A lot of people are trying to get rich quick. A lot of people, they're not really investing, they're gambling. Okay, I've met crypto people, and not every crypto person is like this, but I met crypto people, and their idea of diversification is they bought like 5 or 6 cryptos and some NFTs. that's their diverse. I have people in the comment section like cussing me out. Not a lot of people right now in my videos, thankfully, but I do have some people saying, "How dare you say anything nice about gold? I'll never buy gold again. Just do crypto videos, and then maybe I'll pay attention to you." So as a contrarian, this is good,
right?
But unfortunately, we're in an environment now where governments are going to be, they're going to allow, in my opinion, they're going to allow Bitcoin and crypto prices to keep rising. But as central bank digital currencies are scaled up and the pilot tests for them are increasing for cross-border payments, and they're testing these things out more in the private economy, the tax laws on Bitcoin are going to be nuts. Bitcoin and these cryptos are going to be nuts. But let me just say that the politicians and the bureaucrats, these elites, and I've been at the DC Blockchain Summit. I've been going to them every year that they have an in-person conference. So I've listened to speeches in person from people high up in the Treasury Department, CFTC, Securities and Exchange Commission. They admit in these speeches, George, here in DC at Georgetown University at the DC Blockchain Summit every year, they own a lot of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I'm suspect because I know how corrupt everything is. I'm suspect that they actually pay taxes on it. So they're like, "Oh, I buy crypto for my kids. Every time the price crashes, I just buy more for my kids or my wife and stash it away. I know it's going to go up." I'm just worried that this is a Trojan horse as a libertarian, that they're going to increase taxes more. They're going to, I don't know if they can fully ban it because there's all these people saying that like, okay, I'll just set up a VPN and I'll get 3 or 4 passports and I'll forfeit my citizenship and go to another country. But the governments can't fully ban these crypto. They can try, but they can sure as shit try to tax it a lot more. But I think they're going to allow it to go up until these central bank digital currencies are ready. But the elites don't play by the same rules that we do.
Yeah, right.
So like in China, and these rules just came out. Do you really think the Chinese Communist Party I mean, they've stolen, there's tons of documented evidence about billions of dollars stolen by Chinese Communist Party elites. If a billionaire criticizes the Chinese government, the guy goes in prison and they steal all his assets, and it's divided up by the elites there. So do you really think that all the tax rules for Bitcoin and all the bans, they're not going to apply to the Chinese Communist, the elites in the Chinese Communist Party? So the elites here in DC are not really that much different. Yeah. And same thing in the European Union. The people running things are scumbags, complete and total hypocrites, complete and total scumbags. Most of them are champagne socialists.
Yeah, I totally agree. A funny story, my sister texted me, I believe it was yesterday, the day prior, that she was on a flight. I think it was from Dallas, or I don't know where she was going, but she sat next to Hank Paulson.
Did you know that he had his capital gains taxes on his Goldman Sachs stock waived so he could be U.S. Treasury Secretary? Did you know that over $500 million in capital gains taxes were waived?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. That the perks, the average American, I said this earlier in the interview, does not understand that the people here in DC, a lot of them are lawyers, white collar criminals, understand how to work the system, cheat on taxes. There's tons of politicians here that haven't paid taxes in years.
Yeah, right.
We're talking like 6, 7, 8 figures of back taxes, and they got buddies in the IRS. probably will never pay them.
Yeah, the same people that are saying tax the rich.
Yeah, of course. But it's really just what they really mean is tax the poor people, tax the working class, tax the middle class, screw over small business. Because large corporations are in debt.
That's what they never tell you, Jason, is that they're sitting here trying to create inflation, saying that it's only transitory. And that's the most regressive tax possible.
Well, the inflation is really just the Cantillon effect. So that's currency creation. And that allows the people here in DC and their corporate buddies, either on Wall Street or Silicon Valley or the other major cities, to give them bailouts or unbidded contracts or like, extra government contracts or bribes.
Yeah, and then they just get back end. They get the kickbacks or whatever it is. And then it's kind of this, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back.
Well, and then they blame capitalism. Yeah, and then they blame capitalism, but it's not capitalism because they're not allowing bankruptcy. They're not allowing competition. They're allowing some bankruptcy, maybe small businesses to fail or the individual to fail. But any large corporation or special interest group that knows the right politician or bureaucrat and has the right lobbyists, right army of lobbyists, and pays the right amount of bribes, they're going to be well taken care of. And that's what all these programs, infrastructure, Green New Deal, look at all the size of these bills, George. So have you seen the pictures of like the size of the infrastructure bills? Thousands of pages. And I can guarantee you that 90% of the pages have nothing to do with infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all line item, pork barrel legislation stuff, Christmas tree stuff, or log rolling, pork barrel legislation that's stuck into the bill. So this lobbying firm can earn their high fees, make an extra $5 million or $10 million. They all get bonuses, but then the corporation gets an unbidded contract for hundreds of millions or billions of dollars.
Yeah, I mean,
but then nothing, but then the real economy, the infrastructure doesn't actually get fixed. That's the problem. So if they were actually if we're going to have bullet trains here in the US, we're like the only major country that doesn't have any. I think California is doing one from Sacramento to Bakersfield. The whole route was supposed from San Francisco to San Diego was supposed to cost around 80 billion. and one stop cost 80 billion. That's how much waste, fraud, corruption, and abuse in California, just from, I think, Sacramento to Bakersfield, a small amount of the total. They spent like tens of billions on that.
And that's why I say that people that try to, or the people that believe the solution is to just elect better politicians. They just don't understand that if you allow government to have that type of power, it's going to attract people who are sociopaths. It's going to attract people who have an insatiable lust for power, and they're going to use that to their benefit and to the disadvantage of society at large. So the only solution for better government is smaller government. That's what it always goes back to, because then it will attract people who aren't necessarily all about wealth, power, and micromanaging people's lives.
Well, also term limits.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Why do we need senators who are over 80 years old and they're on all these medications or they're vegetables like Joe Biden or some of the other people in Congress?
Yeah, great.
It's almost like a seniorage thing where it's for life, and then you have situations now in the House of Representatives where these seats are passed on to the next generation, the kids. That's how corrupt the system is. So we need the system is broken. Okay, when you vote, maybe at the local level, maybe you can affect a little change, but at the federal level here, the whole system at the federal level, George, is resistant to change. So the American people elect change candidates every couple of years. They come here to DC and nothing gets done.
Smaller government. That's what we need.
Well, this whole debt, but it's not going to happen until we're not going to get smaller government. Let's be honest. We're not going to get smaller government because a lot of people don't actually vote libertarian. We're not going to get smaller government until the punch bowl, until the world reserve currency is taken away.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's going to have to be forced upon us. It's not going to be a decision that we can make.
Exactly. I don't know when that's going to be, because people have been predicting that the U.S. will lose world reserve currency for a long time, and it has not happened. But you have all these governments making the same, very similar policy mistakes in the 1920s and 1930s with beggar thy neighbor policies. We have not seen yet big retaliatory tariffs from all these governments, because that will accelerate crashes in local economies. So we have not seen that yet, but we've seen a lot of the similar policy mistakes of monetary policy, money printing and tax increases, stagflate, tax lie, from beggar thy neighbor in the 1920s and 30s.